Whatever the world throws at you, take it on.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Be unstoppable. The all-new 2015 Ford Edge.
And welcome to the lobby of First Financial Bank and the fourth edition of the Coach Misty Wilson radio show. I'm the voice of the Texans, Kelton Weens, and for the next half hour, Coach and I will talk about the game from this past weekend against West Texas A&M, as well as go around the Lone Star Conference. And we'll also hear from Texans senior forward Brianna Fuller. Please help me in welcoming the second-year head coach of the Texans, Misty Wilson. Coach, welcome. You got you another guest today.
I do. My helper, Kenna. She gets really embarrassed when I say her name.
She ever been on the radio?
Probably not. Maybe in the background.
Well, Coach, you're coming off a loss to West Texas, 78-73 in overtime. That was a loss, but that's really not something that you wanted to hang your head about after that game.
No, I thought our girls played very well. They executed the defensive game plan very well, and really, I think probably the best thing is that we made them adjust and play the way we wanted them to play. They couldn't play their bigger lineup because we were really taking advantage of that, and that was one of the things that we wanted to do. And looking back on that film, at the end of regulation, we had three really good looks. Brianna Fuller had one. Bailey Whiff had a really good look at a three, and then Raven McGrath there at the end had a pretty decent look.
That game started at 2 in the afternoon, and I know for me, at least, it was great to get home. We pulled into Stephenville at 11:59, and it was we got home earlier from Canyon than we did from Midwestern State.
Yes, I like the 2 o'clock games. I really do. It's an early start, especially if you go your 7:45 shoot around,
Right.
like we did in Canyon. But I like the 2 o'clock games. I like getting home earlier.
And now WT at the end of that game, at the end of regulation, went on a 6-0 run. Was that really your only down moment of the game that WT came back?
Yeah, I think so. And they hit the shots that they needed to. We made them miss. The first 2 shots that they took. The last one was a contested pull-up jumper by Sasha Watson, who's a very good player. But we were right there, and we didn't give her a layup, and she had to make a tough jump shot, and she did. But the two possessions before that, we made them miss the first shot. We just weren't able to get the defensive rebound, and they got the points off of the second attempt.
4 Texans scored in double figures, led by Pox 13, Raven McGrath, Megan Odell, Avery Mack all finished with 11 points. Really a good game and a balanced scoring attack for you.
Definitely, and that's what, ideally that's what we'd like to see every night. One thing that we've been working on in practice for, the last couple of weeks is moving without the ball and everybody being a threat.
Now, Bailey Whiff with just 9 points on 3 of 8 shooting. How big was that for everybody else to be able to step up and be able to fill a void that had normally been filled by Bailey Whiff?
I think it was good. I think all along they've had that confidence, and they know that sometimes a bad shooting night can kind of get in your head and affect you. And one thing about Bailey is that she's always consistent, and she didn't have a bad game. 9 points is not a bad game, and it was just everybody else I think did a better job when Bailey drove, because I think she had several assists as well. But when she drove and created shots, she was able to create for her teammates and not just for herself.
Now, one thing that you can take away is maybe something to kind of improve on would be allowing Michaela Newhouse 19 points. She's a great player, and she and Sasha Watson really make that WT engine go. And you held Watson in check, which was great defensively. What about Newhouse?
Again, I thought her teammates did a good job finding her, because if you look back, and several of her attempts came on second chance opportunities. They would get the offensive rebound, maybe a long rebound, and they would just catch and find her. And but a lot of times we made her miss the first one when we were playing our zone, and then it was just those second chance opportunities that hurt us, which you're going to give up a few of those in a zone.
You scored 28 points in the paint compared to WT's 30. The paint was really a good place for you, really all night.
Mm-hmm. It was, and again, that goes to our girls moving without the ball, without the ball in their hands. It was, when the ball was moving, they were moving, and that's hard to guard. When teams do that.
In the entire series history between Tarleton and West Texas, I asked you this before the game, and I kind of liked your response. You had just 2 wins in Canyon between the Box and the First United Bank Center. Why is it so hard to play there?
I think the trip it's a long trip. The fan base, just the pressure of playing, WT. But, I used to have nightmares about playing there myself, so I understand it. But it didn't seem to affect our girls at all this time. And, I was actually one of those 2 wins. And I don't think we ever won in the box, but we did win at the First United Bank Center the first year they opened it up. So, but I thought our girls did a good job of handling that pressure and dealing with that trip. And I don't know if it felt like it to you, but it was fast and furious.
Yes.
I mean, we left, we worked out, we ate. It felt like we just ate, slept, and then woke up and played basketball.
Exactly. To give you an idea of the box for everybody out there, I had a history teacher that went to WT, and he had small feet, and he said that if he had size 7's feet, and if he had size 7.5, his toes would be on the floor. That's really quite impressive. Defensively, you have 11 steals and forced WT into 18 turnovers. You make them do something that they really didn't like to do, and that was turn over the basketball.
Yeah, and that goes to our pressure. That goes to just the different things, different looks we were giving them. I think they were used to a traditional zone, a 2-3 zone, and we made some slight adjustments to that. So I think they were pretty frustrated. They thought they knew what was going to be open based on what they had seen from several other zones, and with our adjustments, it wasn't what was open, so they were kind of out of their comfort zone there.
West Texas, coached by Kristen Matteo. She's done a good job in Canyon. Worked with Coach Mark Kellogg for a very long time. Talk about the job she's done in her first season.
I mean, she's done a heck of a job, and she's got some really good players that make her job easier. Really, us coaches, I think, are a little bit overrated. It all comes down to your players, and our girls went out there, and I thought they played great and did what they were asked to do and did it well. And again, we had some really good looks at the end, and they put themselves in a position to win that game, and those shots just didn't fall. But I would take those 3 shots again at the end of the game.
You come back from that game in Canyon, and you've had this week off. It's kind of unusual that we just have a coaches show plopped in the middle of the week without a basketball game. That's got to be a weird feeling to take a week off in the middle of a conference schedule.
It is. I don't necessarily hate it.
Right.
Because I think sometimes it's good to just break the monotony of the season, but I wouldn't want it to happen often. One time is good, and it's been nice. I was able to give the girls a couple days off, and I think they appreciated that, and I know their bodies probably needed it as well. And I was talking to Coach Matteo in West Texas, and they're in the same boat we are as far as playing 8 games already. I mean, we got back from Christmas, and we dove right in. And they're in the same boat. There's some conference teams that haven't played, they've only played 6 games. So, it's been fast and furious, and a couple days off was not bad for our girls.
Yeah, when you played Angelo State that first weekend, and that first week in January, that was their first conference game. That was our third.
Yeah, our third game.
Finally, Coach, we talked to Brianna Fuller next. She's played very well this season, has played great of late. What can you talk about her play this year?
Bree's a very good leader. She does a good job of talking and communicating on the floor. She understands the game, does a great job of moving without the ball, and she's getting more and more comfortable down there on the block. And it's kind of funny, her being 6'2", she'd rather be not necessarily outside on the perimeter, but in the where she can face up and catch and shoot jump shots. And what I like about Bree is that whatever you tell her to do, she looks at you and says, yes, ma'am, and does it. And, coaches appreciate players like that, and I think she's doing a great job so far.
Last season, she came from a Princeton offense. Does that factor into having a much better year this year, that she's kind of gotten away from that?
I think it actually helps probably because of the different offense that we're running this year. There is a lot of screening action, but she knows how to screen and then make a cut to make herself available. And I think she's doing a good job. I think people are starting to figure out, her teammates are starting to see what she does and kind of figure that out as well. Her and Tori do a really good job of doing that.
Well, that's going to do it for our first segment here on the Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show. When we come back in 1 minute, I'll chat with senior forward Brianna Fuller when the Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show continues right after this. Welcome back to First Financial Bank in Stephenville. Big thanks to First Financial for sponsoring this season's Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show. Also Domino's Pizza for our in-bank audience today. I'm now joined by Texan senior forward from Huntsville, Brianna Fuller. Bree, you've had a great season. talk about it. Talk about the year that you've had. You missed some action at the beginning of the year, but talk about the season as you've seen it.
I think I was just excited to get back out there with my team. Watching from the bench is awful. I mean, all I could do is just yell. I can't go out there and help them physically, but emotionally it was tough. So just being back on the floor with them is just a great feeling.
Have you moved your mic up a little bit for me? Did you do anything in the off season to help you with the game? To help you with your game for the Texans? Did you try to get more confidence? Did you shoot the ball a lot more in the off season? Did you lift, try to get bigger? What's the difference?
I mean, we're always lifting. Coach Cole, shout out to Coach Cole. We're always lifting, trying to get bigger. Just being in the gym with Coach, doing individuals, and just preparing ourselves.
6 points, 9 boards in the loss to West Texas A&M. Talk about that game and how you saw it.
It was tough. We went in knowing that we were going to win. So when we came out with the L, it was mentally hard for us. Towards the end of the game, we had a lot of momentum, and we just didn't see the outcome.
Right.
So, like I said, it was tough.
Did you hang your head after that one?
I wouldn't say hang my head, but it was really hard on us as a team because we knew what we were capable of, and we knew what we went out there and how we were doing, and then we just came up short.
One of your compatriots under the hoop is Apaku Iwobi. Another great post in this conference. Talk about the relationship between you and Pac, and what have you learned from her, and what has she learned from you?
Her being younger than me, I have literally learned a lot from her. We're all really good friends on and off the court. That's actually my roommate. The 3 posts out of us all, we're all roommates, and we just get close on and off the court. We learn a lot. She is a totally different player than me, so I do, try to look at her and try to do a little bit different things than her. But yeah.
Now you started several games this year, and I'm always kind of fascinated by this. Do you prefer to start a game, or do you prefer to come in and be valuable off the bench? Because some people want to kind of see the flow of the game, the pace of the game before they come in.
In high school, I always started, but high school is a little different than college. I've always been comfortable coming off the bench, so starting hasn't really just, some people get hype over starting. It hasn't really just been a big thing for me, but my teammates have told me that, me starting it brings a different feel to everything. So in any way that I feel like I bring anything different, any type of energy, I'm going to do it either if I'm starting or if I'm not starting.
Now, you've gone up against some very good posts this season in Aaron Maxwell's, Antea Davis, and a number of others. What's kind of your mindset whenever you go one-on-one with, players that are your size and maybe bigger?
You can't think about it. You see everybody. They might be bigger because, trust me, those girls are bigger and stronger. But you just can't think about it. You have to find a way to, get through it and beat them at their game. So.
How was Vegas?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Had you ever been to Vegas before?
I had.
No?
No.
I love Vegas.
I did. I loved it. It was my first time actually gambling because I just turned 21.
Now, you come to Tarleton from Northwestern State. My number one question about Northwestern State, how do you pronounce the name of the town that it's in? Natchitoches in Louisiana.
Natchitoches.
Talk about the time that you spent at Northwestern State for the Demons, and what did you like about it?
They're a very family-oriented school, but it's a small town. You have to get used to it. Although I am from a small town, but it's a very small town. I would say it's smaller than Stephenville. So you really have to get used to everything and everybody. The school is awesome. It's just trying to figure out a way to put it. It's so many different things in Louisiana. Like, it's way different than Texas.
Right.
So you have to adjust to the culture, really, the different foods and all of that good stuff.
Now, how'd you find your way to Tarleton?
My old coach, I think, sent out emails for me when I asked, to go somewhere different, and Coach Wilson was kind enough to be one of the ones to actually email back, and it was such a blessing. So I was excited. It was actually the only school I visited and even thought about coming to.
What impressed you then? What was it that made that mark?
That she cared. She cared enough to reach out and find me and come to me. So it was awesome. That just showed me her heart at first, and I loved it.
Yeah. Now, you played volleyball in high school, right?
I did.
Yeah? How was that? What kind of player were you in volleyball?
I love volleyball. I'm a big player. That's period. Basketball, volleyball. I'm just a big player.
Now we'll kind of do a rapid fire round. I'll kind of ask you just a series of questions just from all over the board. Just kind of give me what your thoughts are. Favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. Favorite movie?
Love and basketball.
Love and Basketball. I think we watched that on the bus, haven't we?
I think we have.
And I zoned out, I think. Favorite band?
I really don't have a favorite band.
What about favorite style of music?
R&B.
Favorite television show?
I like watching Law and Order.
Really?
Yes.
What, true crime? Is that kind of your
I don't know.
kind of
It
your
just
MO?
gets my attention, and I get so zoned in. And it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
What about favorite quote?
I've always gone by. My mom always just tells me positive vibes. Just stay positive. That's all. Positive vibes.
Glass half full.
Yes.
Yeah. Favorite teammate?
All of them. I can't do that.
That's a very
I
political
can't
answer.
do that.
Favorite sport not called basketball? Volleyball?
I guess you could say volleyball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you a football fan?
So.
Do you have a rooting interest in the Super Bowl?
No. I stick
That's
to
all right.
basketball.
That's all right. Role model?
My mother.
Why is that?
She's the person that's been there, and I've seen her go through everything, and she comes out with a smile.
If you could have, I love this, if you could have dinner with one person in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
That's tough. There's so many. I would have to say Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Favorite hobby?
Sleeping or eating. Anybody on our team could tell you that.
Favorite road trip and least favorite road trip?
I did not
Is there
like...
such a thing as a favorite road trip?
No, I wouldn't say that. Are you talking about like basketball?
Yeah.
I don't like the drive to Kingsville.
No. There's not a whole lot between here and there.
It's tough
Yeah.
being 6'2" on a bus and
True.
trying to get comfortable.
True. What about your favorite sports broadcaster?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. It would have to be you.
Well, thank you very much. Bree, it's been a pleasure today, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for stopping by. When we come back in 1 minute, Coach Wilson will rejoin the broadcast. We'll take you around the Lone Star Conference when the Coach Misty Wilson radio show continues right after this. Welcome back to First Financial Bank in Stephenville. Joining me again is the head coach of the Texans, Misty Wilson. Coach, time for us to take a look around the LSC scoreboard from the last week. But I didn't. I forgot to ask Brianna about this, but she helps out with the team backpacks every year, right?
Yes, she does. She gets them. She gets them embroidered. Her mom works at the prison in Huntsville, and she takes them up there, and the guys do that for us, and they do a really good job.
What'll it take to get one with my name on it?
All you gotta do is ask Bree, and she's got you covered.
Cool. Well, Coach, in the LSC last week on Thursday, Texas Women's over Texas A&M Kingsville, 57-40 in Denton. On Saturday, of course, West Texas over Tarleton, 78-73. Angelo State over Midwestern State, 85-68 in San Angelo. Eastern New Mexico over Texas A&M Commerce, 73-65. Eastern with just their second win in the conference, and you had to figure sooner or later that Eastern New Mexico would get some good conference wins.
Yes, they're a good team, and especially at home, with that trip and
Yes.
being such a long trip for so many teams that you could definitely slip up if you lose your focus.
Cameron over Kingsville, 67-62 down in Kingsville. On Sunday, Angelo State defeated Texas Women's 81-78, a great win for Kevin Baker's squad at home.
Oh, definitely, and they're playing pretty well right now and doing some good things, and we're going to have our hands full with this second half conference.
On Tuesday, Commerce beat Arlington Baptist 113-95. There were, I think, 7 lead changes in that game, and Commerce scored 66 points in the paint. They had 27 assists. You figure that's got to be a big factor in the game on Saturday.
Definitely, but I guess the stat that I saw was that they gave up 95.
Yes.
And against a team that plays the way that Arlington Baptist does, because we played them earlier, you're gonna score a lot of points, but you probably shouldn't give up 95.
Right. On Wednesday, last night, one game in the conference, Cameron over Texas women 75-69 in Lawton. The Pioneers have lost 2 games in a row. Is that just the conference?
That is this conference.
Yeah.
It's such a roller coaster, and it's so up and down, and any team, any given night can come up and beat you.
On coming up this week, on Saturday, Kingsville visits Angelo State. Eastern New Mexico at West Texas A&M. Commerce visits Tarleton, which we'll talk about here in a second. On Sunday, Midwestern State hosts Texas Women's. Midwestern was embarrassed by TWU at the beginning of the year. Could this time be any different? Midwestern playing a lot better now than they were then.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that one's at Denton, though, isn't it?
It's at Wichita Falls.
It's at Wichita Falls. Well, then that's an advantage that they'll have. Playing at Midwestern is a tough place to play, and so I think Noel's definitely got them on the right track, and they're kind of right in the middle of the conference.
On Wednesday, Midwestern State comes to Tarleton, which we will talk about here in a second. Cameron visits Texas A&M Commerce. Angelo State at West Texas A&M, with the Lady Buffs looking for some revenge for their only loss of the year. And Kingsville at Eastern New Mexico. The Javelinas also looking for some revenge and trying to get their first conference win of the season. Coach, let's talk about a couple of games coming up this week. First of all, you host Commerce on Saturday night at Wisdom Gym. The Lions are 10-9 this season. A good scoring team, a good rebounding team. What are the challenges going to be as you face the Lions?
First and foremost is probably going to be offensive rebounding, trying to limit their offensive rebounds. We've got to block out. We talked about that in practice today, and that's going to be an emphasis until we play them. And then transition defense. They take long rebounds and they turn them into layups. They take turnovers and they turn them into layups. And they really want to push the tempo on those long rebounds and turnovers. So we've got to take care of the ball and get back in transition defense.
On Wednesday, you host Midwestern State to begin the second half of conference play. You lost to MSU by 4 just a couple of weeks ago. How big is revenge going to be in that one?
I think it's going to be big. That's a rivalry game. Girls know it, they feel it, and Midwestern knows it, they feel it, and they definitely have the advantage at home. And hopefully it'll be a different game when we play them here.
This week, Commerce has had a game this week. You have not. Could that week off hurt you in the long run, kind of get you out of rhythm?
We actually had a game yesterday. We had an inter-squad scrimmage. And for that reason, like I said, I gave them Monday off, Sunday and Monday off, and then we played again. We played basically a game, and then worked on a situational deal in the last quarter. So we played 3 really good quarters, and we played about a third of another quarter. So we got some good scrimmage time in, and against a team that knows us very well. So.
All right, that's going to do it for our LSC segment. When we come back in 1 minute, Coach and I will wrap up this edition of the Coach Wilson radio show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this from First Financial Bank. Back here at First Financial Bank, again, thanks to Domino's 4-Hour Pizza for our live audience here today at the bank. Time for our giveaways. If you hear me call your name, go and see Ms. Terry over at the easel, and you can flip a card and reveal what prize you've won. We've got some First Financial Bank shirts, some Tarleton hats, and Tarleton shirts, as well as a First Financial Bank umbrella. That is really the prized prize, is the umbrella. First winner today, Kay Wiley.
Hey,
Congratulations,
big supporter. Go choose your card, Kay. Kay's so sweet. She works over in the library and makes goodie bags for us, and makes signs for us during our game. She got the umbrella.
Yay.
The prized possession.
Second winner today, Cole Macon. Congratulations, Cole. Big thanks to the Plowboys for all their support as well.
And for eating all the pizza.
Yes. Yeah, none of the rest of us wanted any pizza, so don't worry about that. Time for some quick announcements. The Coach Lon Reisman radio show continues tomorrow at noon from Brenner Motors at the corner of Lillian and the South Loop. Also, make sure you download the new Tarleton Athletics mobile app. Just go to the iTunes App Store, the Google Play Store, search Tarleton Sports. The app allows you to watch games, listen to live radio broadcasts, keep up with news, and a whole lot more. Again, that's Tarleton Sports on the iTunes App Store and the Google Play Store. Download it today. Good luck to Coach Pat Ponder's track team as they open the season at the University of Houston this weekend. Also, good luck to Coach Brian Conger's Texan baseball team as they take on Henderson State to open the season in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. And good luck goes to the 10th ranked Tarleton State Texan softball team as they host Texas A&M International on Monday afternoon at the Tarleton Softball Complex. First pitch for the Texans is set for 2 p.m. I believe the weather's going to be in about the 70s that afternoon, so it should be a great day on February 1st.
And that would definitely be a softball game I'll probably go watch.
The next broadcast of Texan basketball will be this Saturday as the Texans take on Texas A&M Commerce at Wisdom Gym. The National Farm Life pregame show begins at 4:45 with a 5 o'clock tip-off. If you're at the game, be sure to enter for the Brady Pendleton half-court shot worth $2,500 coming up this weekend as well. Make sure you pick up your tickets for the 2016 Lone Star Conference Tournament in Allen, March 2nd through the 5th. At the Allen Event Center. You can purchase tickets by calling the Tarleton ticket office at 254-968-1832. Coach, time for the final question. And one more game in the month of January and 9 games until the postseason. Where's the year go?
It flies by. Basketball season seems to do that. And one thing, Kelton, I wanted to mention too real quick is at our game Saturday, we're having about probably between 30 and 40 former women's basketball players going to be attending that game.
Alumni as well. And, blackout weekend.
Yes, and it's blackout weekend, green night, so it'll be a fun night at Wisdom Gym.
You know, I joked with Casey because we had Brock night not long ago, and I asked Casey, I said, "Where is Greek?" And he didn't get it for a little bit. Yeah. That's going to do it for our 4th edition of the Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show. Thanks to Brianna Fuller for stopping by today. Also thanks to Aaron Young, Lance McFarland as well back at the KTRL studio. Our on-site engineer, Mr. Jody Lee Cuddle from KWBY Radio. Nathan Burrell, Ryan Cox from Tarleton Sports Information. Texan graduate assistant Jake Stevens for all his hard work as well. I'd like to thank Domino's for lunch today, First Financial Bank for being such great hosts. Most of all, I'd like to thank everyone for attending and listening and for your great support of Tarleton State Athletics. For the second-year head coach of the Texans, I'm Kelton Wayne saying so long, and we'll talk to you on Saturday afternoon from Wisdom Gym.